Hello, everyone. This is Daniel Top here, and I want to announce a new little series that I want to cover in the approximately in the next 5 weeks. We are having 5 subtopics under my big topic, mega trends in missions today. So the idea is to address some of the big topics that are affecting all of us today who are interested in missions. Obviously, there's a lot of details that can be discussed when it comes to missions, and it all depends on the specific context that we're in. And a lot of could be said about doing missions, for example, in a particular country or in a particular city, or also in a particular field like higher education, for example. But what I want to do is just talk about more general topics. And so here for the overview of what we have coming up is number one, I want to talk about global Christianity and the fact that the center of global Christianity has moved southward, right, in the last few decades. And that is something that a lot of scholars have identified. Andrew Walls was one of the early ones, and then Philip Jenkins, when he uh, wrote The Next Christendom, there's this whole idea that Christians nowadays are not primarily found in Europe and North America anymore, but rather in Africa, South America, and Asia. That became kind of like a mainstream thought that was being expressed in Christianity. But it's still worth studying it and discussing the implications of that. So then the second mega trend that I want to highlight is migration, right? So human beings have always moved, and certainly in the Bible, human beings moving from one place to another, and oftentimes also moving under God's direction, such as Abraham did when he moved out of Mesopotamia towards the Promised Land. That is a major theme in the Bible, and it is also a reality of the day and age that we live in, of our time, that we have refugees, we have migrants, we have immigrants, we have people moving for jobs, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily. And with that comes a lot of opportunity for the world of missions. It's also a very challenging situation, of course, for a lot of people who have to move and leave their home behind. Um, then where are people moving to? Even if we're talking about migration within a country, like for example, within the country of China, people generally speaking are moving towards the cities. So for much of human history, for almost all of human history, actually, the majority of people lived in rural areas. It was only in the last 20 years or so that has flipped. And now for the first time in all of history, we have more people living in urban rather than in rural areas, and we have cities that are growing. Some of them, especially in the developing world, are growing to have 10, 20 million people, maybe more than that. And of course, all of that also has implications for how we do missions. And then a fourth topic I want to highlight is marketplace ministry. So the whole idea that a lot of Christians have desired to live out their faith, not only in church on Sundays, let's say, but from Monday to Friday in their jobs where they spend most of their time, right? A lot of people work 40, 50, 60 weeks, uh, maybe weeks also, but hours a week. And even for those who work like 20, 30 hours a week or maybe work part-time, it's still a very large part of their lives. At the same time, we are also seeing that it's becoming more difficult to be a missionary in many countries unless you have a credible reason to stay, which oftentimes will be a business or a job. And the last topic that I want to highlight as a mega trend of our time is technology. So I've come to the conviction more and more that technology is a major force in our lives. And for that reason, we need to reflect on it theologically and also missiologically. So we have some mega trends in technology that could change the way our world functions in terms of manufacturing, like the Internet of Things, quantum computers, advanced robotics, artificial intelligence, and of course, even in our daily lives with our smartphones and the way that people use social media, and a lot of people use computers for their work, that is affecting people's daily lives. And so we want to have something to say about that as followers of Christ as well. So that's what's coming up. I hope you'll be part of it. And that's all I have to do for today, just to make a little announcement. And I'm excited to talk about these topics in more detail. See you then.